Today we are talking about privacy trees or bushes or hedges that you can create. As you can see, there's a window there that I'd like to have some privacy. It's not a huge issue, but I think it would be nice if I did have more privacy for myself or for future owners of the house. And so I've chosen these Eagleston hollies. But I want to go through my thought process with you in case you are trying to create some privacy and you really need several pointers to think about, whether it's an evergreen plant, whether how tall it grows, how wide it grows, and all kinds of considerations that you should have when you are creating something like this. So we're going to walk through this as I go out of my porch. Then I also see a loquat tree on the right that's growing beautifully. And then I've planted 4 hollies right here. My husband was quite apprehensive about having hollies for a couple of reasons. We're used to hollies being those prickly things that really get us if we brush up against them. Also, there's berries that come with that, and sometimes they could fall to the ground, and he was worried that maybe it could get messy. I would have liked to plant a 5th one right now, but they didn't have it at the store. So when they order more, or when I have one more available to me, I will be doing that because I always plant in odd numbers, 1, 3, or 5, etc. I also want to show you a different vantage point. So if you can see, the window is still there, and there is a holly right here. So we are in my porch right now. And by the way, I actually created another video that includes these curtains. It's a review of these curtains and how I put them up. If you are interested, that video will be in the description below, so you can watch the curtain video if you want to add privacy that way, if you have a porch or something. But from here, it looks like, wow, well, you've got a loquat there and you've got a holly there. Well, there's a little bit of a distance from them. It's kind of hard to see. There's an illusion of how maybe they look like they're too close together, but they're not so much. And also, loquats can be very easily pruned. That's one of the things I love about the loquats. Both the loquat and the holly are evergreen trees. So that means that I'm going to eventually have privacy in our porch all year long. That's music to my ears. I bought these at a local nursery in the Savannah area, and I love all their stuff. So they came over and delivered these beautiful hollies. They only had 4. I took them all. He said he was going to order more, and that's what I'm waiting for. Here's some reasons these hollies are great. They grow in zones 6 through 9. They have white flowers in the spring and red berries in the fall or winter. They are tolerant of many soil types, from clay to sandy soil like mine, and they grow from 15 to 20 feet tall to 10 to 15 feet wide. Remember how I said my husband was a little apprehensive about hollies? Well, this is a hybrid between the Dahun holly and the American holly. Another thing I noticed is that they're not so prickly. One of the things I learned about hollies is that they're little prickly things. Like, you know, whenever you see these kinds of things, the edges are a little bit pointy and then they start getting hard, is because of the deer. So it's like their protection against deer eating them. They make them really kind of not so favorable for them to want to eat them. But these hollies, because they are a breed between the Dahun holly and the American holly, they are not so prickly. As a matter of fact, I can really brush up against these and they're not really hurting me. That is one thing I absolutely loved about them. I think they are beautiful. They're pyramidal shape. They kind of look like Christmas trees, and they're going to look beautiful when they get really big. At the plant nursery, they had 2 options. You could buy them leafed out from the bottom all the way to the top, or you could buy them in topiaries, which is actually this way, the way I bought them. But also, their berries are not really intrusive in the yard. They're not going to spill over the ground, because I already could tell since I planted these that birds love them. They are going to eat up those berries so fast, they're not even going to have time to drop. Sounds like they don't produce as intensely or profusely amount of berries, and the birds have time to kind of take them all away from you before they drop. Plus, remember, they're evergreen, so you're not going to have leaves or messiness in the ground. These Eagleston are becoming really favorites. The reason I found them is because I was looking for privacy screen and hedges, and I wanted to have underplantings. I didn't want to have a whole mass of like screens, plantings only. I wanted to be able to plant even more. I found these on Instagram and on Pinterest, and you can actually use the hashtag to look them up. You're going to learn so much information about them, and I bet you're going to fall in love with them just as much as I did. I spaced my trees from center to center 6 feet apart. That is a great distance if you want them to kind of run together and create an actual kind of like wall, kind of a hedge. So that is how I decided to do this. And that is after I talked to a lot of landscapers. Even on Instagram, I was commenting and asking questions. And that's how I came up with my 6 feet apart decision. You could probably do 5 to 6 feet if you ever do something like this. Now, this is not the case for everything. The way you decide how to space something like this is by looking at the growth at maturity. I've also created a mock-up to show you exactly what these are going to look like later as they grow wider, taller, everything. Now you may be wondering, well, if they grow from 10 to 15 feet wide, aren't these too close? Yes, they're a little close because they're going to run into each other, but up at the top, they're conical, so that means they're going to be further apart. And because we want them to be hedge-like, we want to create privacy, we need to plant them this close. Plus, they're very tolerant of pruning, so they're going to be just fine. When I was researching my options for what I can do on this side of the house, I knew that I wanted to soften the fence. I wanted the trunk to really end at the top of the fence. I wanted the canopy to start there so that I could have under plantings, because I didn't want to rob myself too much space at the bottom. If I had some arborvitae trees or something, they would have been too wide at the bottom. And as an avid gardener, I knew that I wanted something else at the bottom that had more interest, like maybe some dwarf hydrangeas or azaleas or something else that was just fun to continue gardening. Some of the things you do have to be worried about when you plant something, especially this large where you have to go deeper and wider, is what's around. This is a sprinkler system. I had to really be conscious of where that went through and how I could dig without like breaking something. I also took a chance on transplanting this beautiful kumquat, which was already providing me a lot of flowers. You could see a lot of new growth, and it was doing fantastic. I have moved this in the middle of the summer, so I don't know how well this is going to fare, but this is the chance I took so that I could have this new design in my yard. I'm inserting this as I'm editing, and I noticed that it's already losing some of its flowers, so probably this year I will lose that. But it is repotted right now, and it's going to find a new home later on. Did you notice as well that there was this tree at maturity? This is an autumn cherry tree. I do have a separate video about this one if you want to watch it, but this is actually a baby autumn tree that will grow over the years. So I do have to keep that in mind when I decide whether I do want a fifth one over here, a fifth holly tree, because I do have to remember that this is going to grow, and this is a fast growing tree. Those are slower growing trees. So this one's going to grow a lot bigger. Maybe it was great that I only could find 4, because maybe I won't need that 5th one. And if I put hydrangeas, I will have my 5 hydrangeas to kind of help me with my whole design theory about planting in odd numbers. The Eaglestons have a slow growth rate. Probably they will grow anywhere from 10 to 12 inches per year. There's a saying that trees grow like this: first year sleeper, second year creeper, third year leaper. Yes, friends, patience is a thing in the garden. These are regular limelight hydrangeas, and these will grow 6 to 8 feet tall. Now there's panicle hydrangeas and there's mop head hydrangeas, and actually I have a video about hydrangeas that explains to you all the different kinds of hydrangeas that there are. But my favorite light hydrangeas are the limelight, the panicle hydrangeas. I'm going to have to find a dwarf variety, and I've looked up 2 varieties that I think would work in this space. One of them is the bobo hydrangea, and the other one is the little limelight. I will put that in the description below if you want to look them up. I am not ready to plant these because it is too hot right now to either transplant these or to plant the hydrangeas. I don't think they'll do great right now. But when I do, I probably will make a video so that you can learn all about that. When you are planting these, make sure that your hole is twice as wide as your root ball, but just as deep as it is. You don't want the root ball too far down. I've learned that trees don't really like to be dug too deep into the ground. They don't want their roots completely covered. So you want to have it flushed with the regular level of the soil. And then you want to score it so that the roots kind of start going outwards and expanded, because remember, they've been root bound in that plastic pot. One thing you could do is to trim the top before you actually plant it. I actually asked my helper Manny. He's always in my videos because he's always helping me out on his days off. But I wanted to trim a little bit of the leaves to promote some growth. So wherever you cut, there's going to be more branches that grow. And so it'll just get a little bit bushier at the top. And you can do this periodically as you see fit. Manny is a family member and the official Bliss Home and Garden helper. He is actually adding water here because as we add the soil, we want to make sure that we get rid of all the air bubbles as we completely finish adding all the soil to the top. And I pretty much always add a root starter whenever I add a new plant in my garden. Here we are cheering with water, but hey, it was hot. So what do you think? Aren't these just absolutely awesome? I love them so much and I can't wait to see them grow even more. So if you do have questions, make sure you put them in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. And if you know the answer to someone else's comment, make sure you comment that as well. There's a lot of people here helping each other out. Guys, my name is Cynthia. I love making our homes beautiful inside and outside because if we do, we can create more bliss for us and for the people that we love. Until next time, I'll see you later.